Why horror movies are scary. Hello, and I think I'm going to use that entrance in all my videos. Today on Real World Magic, what is it about horror movies that scares us? Now this video is a lot darker than my usual stuff, so if you get triggered easily, and because my name's Neil Trigger, that's why that's funny, you might want to watch one of my other videos, perhaps one in which I mention pretty little unicorns, like this video that I linked up here. Now I'm going to show you how to make the perfect jump scare, how to build tension, and how to make people feel very, very uncomfortable indeed. Welcome to Real World Magic, where we make your life more magical. My name is Neil Trigger, I'm going to be your magical host, and today we're venturing into the dark and working out what scares us silly human beasts the most, and how you can do it yourself. Most people are scared by something. Generally, I'm not one of these people. I don't mind snakes, snails, slugs, spiders, or anything else that begins with an S, like Superman or souffle, and I'm absolutely fine with sausages. I'm fine with dogs, buttons, the dark, flying, and even the prospect of my own ever-looming death. Of course, nowadays, the prospect of death is looking a little bit more close to home, which is scary, but there is something a little bit more about paranormal that can be even more scary. Of course, most people have something that they find scary, whether it's needles or blood or just freaky looking dolls. What is it about all this stuff that we find scary? And as the whole world goes into lockdown for the long cold night of social distancing and self-isolation, I wanted to take a look at fear and what it is about horror movies, and particularly supernatural horror movies, that scares the bejesus out of us. Now I still want this to be my usual brand of bonkers humour, so don't panic too much. Certainly don't panic so much that you go out and instantly buy a billion loo rolls. You know who you are. Or like the American nutters buying a stockpile of guns. I don't want any panicking, any panic buying. I will keep you safe. But there will be some jump scares. Great, so you have been warned. So put your guns and toilet paper away in the appropriate places and accept that I will scare you at some point and you probably won't see it coming, okay? Now I will then explain how the jump scare works, but first let's talk about building tension. It's no coincidence that most, if not all, horror films have a great score. That is, the music in the background of the film. It's usually orchestral and often very melodic, but not always. Dun, dun. I'm not able to show too much of any one film just in case I get done for a copyright breach on YouTube, but I will mention The Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe.
You're a wizard, Harry.
As a great example of building dramatic tension. Like it or hate it as a movie, the music seems to fade into the background, and that's what good music should do. It tells you how you should act and how you should feel. So let's watch this scene from a small independent film just to see how music affects the mood, and let's see if you feel tense. Right? Now let's take a look at something a little lighter, because not all movie makers scare people. Different movie makers and storytellers do this in different ways, like cartoons having an upbeat soundtrack, or even car commercials like this one, which make you feel relaxed and want to buy the car. So pay close attention here. Yeah, I did tell you I'd do a jump scare. So, music can build dramatic tension, and it can also tell you when to pay attention by dropping out the sound entirely, so the music foreshadows what's going to happen and when things are going to happen. So here's how to make a jump scare. You get things calm. Ideally, get them slow and lure the audience into a false sense of security. And then, just as things are totally calm and slow and quiet and relaxed, boom! Shake things up a bit. Get some fire and energy into your video. You can do this kind of pattern interrupt in presentations too. Just add some variation. Apply that to speeches or sales pitches, and remember, pattern interrupts work especially well for YouTube. They occur when you start a pattern and then break it. In video, you can do this by zooming in and zooming out, changing the colour, changing the angles, or the backgrounds, or whatever. Okay, that was the last jump scare, I swear. So, now, let's look at dolls and things that fall into something that psychologists call the uncanny valley. The uncanny valley is the psychological term that describes the effect when something appears to be almost normal but just off. And this is what Stephen King is great at. In his book on writing, Stephen King, the master of horror, describes how it is much more scary to base a horror in a relatable setting than in a cliché haunted house. It would be better to put a horror movie in a laundrette, for example, than a 15th century castle, because most people know what a midtown laundrette looks like and roughly how they work. So imagine a slimy monster living inside your freezer and growing stronger day by eating your ice cream, and then leaping out on you when you come home drunk one day and open the freezer door for a pizza. That's much more scary than someone visiting a scary looking house with a creaky floorboard, because you just know these plot devices. You've seen it before, and you're bored of cliché horror. But what is it about cliché horror that isn't scary? Well, going back to the uncanny valley for a second, a monster in your freezer sounds worse than something lurking in a totally unrelatable castle, doesn't it? Well, the same goes for dolls. Now, dolls might not be creepy in themselves, but haunted dolls themselves are human-ish looking, but they're not human, and so including a haunted element to them makes them freaky and weird. Taking something innocent like a child or their toy and making them an example of something to be feared is uncomfortable in the same way as taking anything comfortable and then turning it into something horrifying can be scary. Imagine your mother hugging you, and as you hug her back, your hand moves to her back where you feel the leathery texture of her black wings. You pull away and her face has changed. Her eyes are bleeding and black, and she's smiling a wide white smile. Is her smile comforting or even more scary? It makes you wonder why she's smiling, right? What does she know that you don't? Why has she got wings at all? Why are her eyes black? Why are they bleeding? The thing to remember about fear is not that it's real, it's because it's based on the unknown. And this is why you're not scared of cliché horror, because it's known stuff. You know it. The reason that we fear animals is because we don't know if they're going to bite, sting, or hurt us in some other way. The reason that we fear people is for exactly the same reason. The reason that we are scared of the dark is because people don't know what is out there. And death for the same reason. In fact, if you really dig down into it, the reason that you're afraid of anything is because you don't know something. So coming full circle now back to this global pandemic, don't be afraid just because you don't know. There's no need to be afraid of things that you don't know. There's plenty of information out there if you just know where to look. Don't listen to fake news. There's an awful lot of that crap going around at the moment. So be discerning and make sure to follow all the reliable, good advice from trusted sources. And that, boys and girls, is the moral of this video, which is nice because I usually don't have morals embedded in any of my videos. I just like having fun. So okay, that's it for this week, my magical little buddies. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to tell YouTube it was a good video and more people should see it. If you want to see some more of me or of my videos, click the subscribe button and remember to ding that bell so you don't miss out on any other uploads that I throw up there. Comment down below and interact with me, because it might be the only interaction that either of us gets for months, especially if you're in a country where we're all locked down. But for now, that is all. Thank you very much again for watching. I will be back next week, but until then, as always, stay safe and stay magical. You're bored.
Subscribe to Real World Magic.